Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030, and my name is Wadzanai Manyore. This is where we discuss everything agriculture here in Zimbabwe. I understand that we have existing farmers who tune into this program, as well as aspiring farmers. You are at the right place. Today we are here in Mashonaland West Banket at Northwood Farm, where we are going to be looking at beef cattle ranching right here in Zimbabwe. Now you'd find that as we talk about becoming an upper middle class economy here in Zimbabwe, well over 67% of our population makes a living out of agricultural ventures, and it is imperative that we have discussions such as these ones, where we discuss agriculture in its depth. At this point in time, I would like to thank Mr. Mutonga here for inviting us to his farm and permitting us to come and create content on beef cattle ranching production here in Zimbabwe. Mr. Mutonga, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Wadzi, for coming, and you're welcome.
As we get into our discussion, Mr. Mutonga, people might be watching there from home and looking at this beautiful head that you have. They might want to know what inspired or how did it begin. A brief synopsis of the history of this farm.
Thank you, Wadzi. We started effective farming around 2014. But we got this farm 10 years before that, and we got it as virgin land, and every structure you see here was our own construction. We started with Boran, and I've got a gentleman who was a farm manager at Forester, responsible for livestock, and he has helped us a lot. I had read quite a bit about cattle, but most of what I know today was through courses and his support.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mutonga, for giving us that background so that our audience there at home might understand that this is not just a walk in the park or a short-term investment. You are talking to us in terms of starting as early as 2014. Now we are in 2023 and your head is still growing. I would like to talk about issues surrounding the carrying capacity of this land. Does it fully support your head? And in terms of issues surrounding curling, how do you cater for this head with the land that you have?
Yeah, we have 90 hectares, and of which 70 is arable. And the normal carrying capacity would only allow us to carry about 22 to 25 cattle, but we have 110. So what we do is sometimes we go beyond that, so we have to have a planned culling program to keep it at 110. Yeah. So what we do is for steers, we castrate them, and we either slaughter here for nearby farmers, or we take them to abattoirs. And we are strict in keeping it at 110.
In terms of the breeds that are here, or the breed that you have here, what could have motivated or inspired you into saying that we would want to invest in this breed? What could have been the objectives behind the acquisition of such a breed?
You know, there are various breeds, and I was working outside in Kenya and other countries, and there I found out that Boran is a good breed. So we targeted Boran. We also got to learn that our own cattle, which we look down upon, the Mashona, is a very good breed. So we also got hard Mashona, and so it's a mixture of Boran and hard Mashona. And down the years, talking to other farmers, and we have brought in 2 bulls, a beef master in order to grow the size, and also a Bramhan. So now we are moving away. We'll be having pure breeds of Boran, and then mixtures of hard Mashona with beef master and Boran. Bramhan, sorry.
As we close this segment, I would like us to talk about what do you seek or intend to achieve, and look into the future, maybe 5 years from now. What are you looking to achieve, given that you are into this enterprise of livestock breeding? You were talking of moving into Bramhan. What could have been maybe what you are looking at? What is inspiring you, pushing you forward into maybe looking 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I want to go into artificial insemination. Artificial insemination allows me to come up with exactly what I want. And we'll be having pure breeds Boran, pure breeds Bramhan, and pure breeds Beefmaster.
Okay, thank you so much, Say. That was very detailed. On that note, viewers, we've come to the end of the first segment. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030, where we discuss production economics, business finance, business fundamentals and principles, and their application in the agricultural industry right here in Zimbabwe. Now, viewers, we encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer, Wadzanai Manyore. It's on 0772-807-506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Leave your comments and suggestions and make a follow-up on this episode and more. Your comments are very important and welcome to us. It's Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We are also now available on Twitter, where most of these discussions do take place. It's at Agribusiness 110. Now, earlier on, before into the break, Mr. Mtonga here was telling us of a look into the future, what he intends to achieve 5 years from now. Mr. Mtonga, we are here in the final second segment. Welcome back.
Thank you, Wazi.
Now I want us to talk about pests and diseases that are a nuisance or hinder proper beef cattle ranching here in Zimbabwe. And maybe the chemicals that you are now used to, that you know by head, how do you apply them and how do you dip your cattle, your routines in terms of protecting your head?
Thank you, Wadzi. First of all, I think let me start with biosecurity. Mm-hmm. You can see this place is fenced. And, Mr. Urombo is very strict. He doesn't allow our cattle to mix with neighbors' cattle. So we have confined our cattle to our farm. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is we built a plunge dip. Mm-hmm. We have a plunge dip here on the farm, and it's for our exclusive use. Then we have a dosing regime. There are a number of diseases which cattle can get, and so we follow and we consult with the ministry, mm-hmm. and also commercial veterinary experts. And so what we do is a few months before the time to dose, we consult with our ministry officials, mm-hmm. and because there are changes at times, we are obliged to dose them, say, a month or two after. And at times they say bring it forward, depending on what is happening in the hinterland around us. So we have what can I call it? A dosing program. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a dosing program which we stick to in consultation with the ministry.
Now, Mr. Mtonga, about feed. Any enterprise in livestock or even cropping, you're going to need your fertilizers. In this case, we are talking about feed. In terms of your feeding regimen, do you have pastures to supplement? What do you have? I understand that there are instances whereby people have their sod blocks, their winter blocks. In terms of your feed and even the accessibility to clean water, what is it like your setup here at your farm?
Okay, I'll start with clean water because it's very important. Our cattle don't, water at a river, or we are strict about it. It's borehole water, and we've got troughs.
Yes.
And as for feed, we have a few irrigated pastures, and then we also grow maize for supplementary feed. And in terms of the pastures, we have lucerne. We also have grasses, which include katambura, silver leaf.
I would also want us to talk about issues surrounding fertility. You would find that kuno akatarira chirongo vari kutonzwa kuti dzinombobereka zvakadini, nekuti munhu akapinda munyaya dzekurima mombe anenge ari kuda kutonzwa kuti pagore ari kutarisana nezvakadii. In terms of fertility with the breed that you have, what are we looking at per year as we close every season or every year? What are we looking at in terms of increase in numbers of your cattle, the calves that are being dropped seasonally? Pa fertility zvakamira sei?
Maybe let me start with the bulling heifers we have and the cows.
Okay.
So we have in the region of about 55, and therefore our ratio is one bull to about 26, 28 bulling cows and heifers. And at the moment, fertility is around 70 to 75%. Yeah, and it's not as good as I would want. We aim for 85, but at the moment we range between 70 and 75. And this is why I'm saying 5 years from now, going forward, I want to go into artificial insemination. Yeah.
Now, panyaya, you spoke of your biosecurity, whereby you are protecting your herd from diseases. We also have other threats in terms of maybe thieves, invasions, predators. How are you taking care of your herd? I understand you do have your fence, but there are instances where a number of can just come and steal. Paku protect kwakwe herd yenyu, and in terms of making sure that when you go to sleep, you do have 100 cattle, you want to expect to see 100 cattle the next day. In terms of protecting your herd from such threats, what is your strategy? What do you have in place?
The first thing is, the fencing which you have mentioned, we do, and then we have dogs. Yeah, we have vicious dogs, and if somebody comes at night, they come at their own risk, and this is why we have warning notices that we have vicious dogs. That's one thing. And the second thing is we've got cattle kraals, which are within proximity.
Okay.
And the third thing is lighting. We have night lighting and solar lights. Even if ZESA is not there, we have lights. And the other additional issue is we've got human security. People who move at night to protect the farm and the livestock. And then we also have training and arms.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mtonga. Your farm is well protected. I would like to thank our audience for staying tuned. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in that third and final segment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. You are watching Agricultural New Directions Agribusiness in support of Vision 2030. Today we are here at Northwood Farm Banquet in Mashonaland West, where we are looking at the beautiful herd that Mr. Mtonga here has. Mr. Mtonga, we are here in third and final segment. Welcome back.
Thanks a lot, Wazi.
Now, as we get into this final part of this discussion, I want us to talk about issues surrounding your cattle miscarrying, the females miscarrying, or situations or circumstances whereby a female is failing to conceive. How do you cater for those situations? What tactics or strategies that you employ to ensure that your herd is multiplying, the females are conceiving, no miscarriages? How do you take care of your herd?
Okay, thank you. Let me start with miscarriages. There's a disease called contagious abortion. And what we do is we vaccinate for that. All heifers every year. So that has minimized miscarriages. And then the second thing is when they are giving birth, sometimes a cow, or especially the heifers, might have a problem delivering. And what we do is we keep them at night near our houses, and Mr. Urombo, with his staff, they periodically go even at night when they do know that this is supposed to calve down within the next day or even hours. And so at night, periodically, they go and check. And a number of times they have had to go out and assist in delivery.
Okay.
So I must say that I'm really proud of him and his staff. We have literally had zero mortalities due to deliveries.
Now, Mr. Mtonga, you would find that after the mother has delivered, you now need to take care of the little one. Just like in humans, the little ones need special care, unlike the other ones that are already there, unlike the other part of the head. In terms of taking care of the little ones, the calves, what maybe techniques do you have in place, or maybe the chemicals or feed? What do you do with the little ones to ensure that they also grow and be a part of the head and be productive in your head?
Yeah, what we do is once a cow or a heifer has calved, we separate them from the main head, so that at least the mother and the child are not stampeded. They have space to themselves. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, what we do is once the calf is of age, within say 2 months, 3 months, the mother now can be separated, go to feed, and the calf will get supplementary feed. And then at lunchtime, the mother comes and gives the milk.
Okay. This segment, we normally reserve it for issues surrounding marketing. Because at the end of the day, for farmers or aspiring farmers to be getting into these types of enterprises or ventures is to make money at the end of the day, to make a livelihood, take care of their families, their medical bills, etc. You would find that everyone is in it to make money. Speaking of markets, the nexus between you as a producer and the market expectations. What does the market expect from you? And what are you doing to ensure that the market is satisfied? And vanototi kana iri nyama tiri kudai kwa Mtonga, kana dziri mombe kana mhuru mukaenda kwa Mtonga, you'll be satisfied, you get what you're looking for. What are your techniques?
Okay, thank you. It's a very interesting. There have been developments over the last few years and changes in market capacity and then market expectations. Mm-hmm. Our middle class is under stress at the moment. A few years back when we started, as 2016, 2017, a lot of people could afford the super that we produce. Here we target to supply super beef. And then we have abattoirs that used to contact us because they wanted our super beef for export. At the moment, we had a period when South Africa and ourselves had foot and mouth disease. So our foreign market was no longer accepting our meat here.
Oh, okay.
And therefore, those abattoirs that used to buy from us at a premium, were saying that, unfortunately, your beef, we have to sell it locally, and therefore the price is lower. And then the second issue has been our middle class. The middle class has, been hit a bit.
Yes.
And the capacity to buy our super meat is now lower. So what we have done is we do send our meat to abattoirs, and we market directly to our customers in order to remain profitable. That's the technique.
Finally, as we round off, you are speaking highly of Mr. Urombo.
Yes.
Clearly, you do have a very good working relationship with your employees, with your staff. For the audience that is watching, we might have people from the diaspora who are watching, wanting to get into this, those who are emulating and watching from afar. In terms of having a good working relationship with your staff and even the agri-tax officers, madumena tekagarisana nawo munzvimbo. Some people might get munzvimbo ototi inini ndiri kuziva zvese ndakazviona paGoogle kana ndakazviona painternet, but clearly you do have a good working relationship with the Ministry of Lands officials. In terms of encouraging our audience, your sentiments, your views, your word of advice to the farmers that want to get into this enterprise, in terms of having a good relationship for starters with your employees, then with the ministry officials, government officials.
Yes, it's very important. You know, farming is about knowledge and people.
Yes.
And as far as the farm or the farm is concerned, you know, try as much as possible to get the best you can. It took me quite a bit of time to be able to get Mr. Urombo. I had to search. There's a late vet who gave me his name, and that's how I managed to get him. And then the ministry is crucial. The people in Chinoi, the officers attached to our region are very, very useful and so supportive. And in addition, we have our institutions of learning. I'm in touch with CAT, Chinoi Institute of Technology. Mm-hmm. They do help me as well with ideas. For example, I said I'm going to go into artificial insemination. They will be supporting me. And on top of that, there is the Agricultural Research Institute in Mazowe, Grasslands. They are very, very helpful. Both in terms of the pastures and also they have ideas about artificial insemination.
Tichipetera chirongwa vamutonga. Tototi mutaure nemunhu akatarira ari kumba. Kuda ari kuti akatotarisa mombe dzenyu ari kutoweka kuti mombe 1 ikaita 800 times 100 mombe ndinenge ndatova nemari yakati. Kune mumwe akatarira in that instance. In terms of economic muscle or the financial capabilities one needs to have, in terms of the capital intensity of this project, in terms of investment, is it a long-term investment? Is it a short-term investment? The production economics that comes with dedicating yourself or your resources into getting into this enterprise. What are we looking at? Advise a new farmer who wants to get into kuita zvamuri kuita izvi.
Well, I would advise them to more or less follow what we did. We started small. Yeah. So we started with 10 heifers and 1 bull, and the ratio was not correct because you're supposed to have about 20. But you grow and learn. If you start big, for example, those in diaspora who have a lot of money, if they start, say, with 50, you can make mistakes and, you know, lose quite a lot of money. What I would advise is start small and then grow and learn with your head. That's the advice I would give.
Indeed, starting small. Mr. Mtonga, I would like to thank you so much for taking your time to accommodate us and appear on our platform. Thank you so much, Say.
Thank you very much.
From me, your host Wadzanai Manyore. I'm also on Instagram. It's a W Manyore. And the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.